Christine, and it's time for Stories I Ate This Month. Stories I Ate This Month.
Off the hook, but the phone never rang. Beast on the beats, no claws, no fangs.
So it's September! I read 4 books in August. I watched like 50 million movies. And I finished 4 TV series.
Bring your crew, invite the whole gang.
The first book that I finished was our August book of the month, Little Monsters by Cara Thomas. In August, we were working with Random House. This book was so good. I was so pleased with this. It's one of my favorite books that I've read thus far this year. It's this thriller about a girl who's fairly new to this town that she's living in. She moved there a year ago. She has these 2 close friends there. This one night, they go out to a party. They don't invite her to go with them. And the next morning, one of them is missing. So one of her closest friends is gone. And we're trying to figure out where the hell she is, what happened. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. I'm gonna give it an A+ because I can't remember the last time I read a thriller and I came out of it like, wow, loved that. I'm excited to go read Cara Thomas's other book, The Darkest Corners, because I have it, but I haven't read it yet. I really loved like the true crime story feel that this book had. It's hard for me to go into any detail without spoiling anything. The audiobook was great. I did the audiobook and I read the physical copy. Like when I was in the shower, I just read the physical copy, but when I came out, I would just keep listening to the audiobook. The book itself was addictive. I started early in the month thinking that like, since I'm listening to the audiobook, it might take me like a little while depending on how good the audiobook is. Oh my god, it took me 2 days. Like once I started, I needed to get to the end. So I had that audiobook on 24/7. Like anytime I was awake and there wasn't something else I had to listen to, audiobook was in my ears. The last 2 hours I sat on my bed with the book reading along to the audiobook. It was a great change of pace. I had so much fun and I was satisfied at the end. Little Monsters, Cara Thomas. Gosh, I can't remember what the first movie I watched this month was because I watched so many, so they're out of order. Most recently, I just watched on August 31st, so it counts, Before I Fall, which if you don't know is an adaptation of Lauren Oliver's book, Before I Fall, starring Zoe Deutsch, who played Rose Hathaway in the Vampire Academy film. I watched this on my plane to Orlando for BookNet Fest. I told myself I am not going to cry watching this movie because I knew, like, I know it's a story that's kind of sad. I was already congested and I was like, I cannot add any more shit going on with my sinuses right now. There were like 2 parts where it was hard, but I withstained. I did not cry on this flight. I cry on every flight. I always read sad books or watch movies that move me. And I was happy with this film. It wasn't amazing. It didn't blow me away, but I also really enjoyed it. I didn't call the end until like right before it. It was good. It was really well acted. I love the concept and where it went. I'm sure if I read that book, especially back when it came out, it would have had a giant impression on me. Because it came out back when I was like late teens. I'm gonna give it a B+ just because it didn't blow me away to like A standards. The next book I finished is the second book in the Grisha trilogy, and that is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. I was blowing through this trilogy. I had to slow down because I had to stop and read Little Monsters, but I am halfway through Rune and Rising right now, so I'll be finished with that by my next Stories I Ate. I know I said this last month, but I'm thrilled to be in on this world now. Leigh does such a fantastic job building the Grishaverse, and I'm so glad I'm in on all of it now, you know what I'm saying? I knew a portion of it and I knew this part existed, but now I know so much more and I'm so excited for whatever else she releases in this world. I hope something following some of our characters from Crooked Kingdom where they left off. I haven't obviously gotten to the end of Rune and Rising yet, so I don't know where we leave off there, so we'll see. I really enjoyed Siege and Storm. I'd say I liked it better than Shadow and Bone. Alina's going on a very interesting journey and I haven't made a book talk for anything in so long because I've just been going from one thing to the next and I haven't had time. Like if I stopped and didn't read a book till I recorded a book talk, then I would never finish all the books I want to read. Because that was my thing back in the day. Like I would not pick up another book until I had recorded a book talk. But things change, life evolves, and my family was here this month, and I didn't get a chance to. I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a trilogy talk when I finish the entire series. I'm really enjoying Baghra. I listen to the audiobook, and I love the way the actress does Baghra's voice. I find it hilarious. I'm really enjoying Nikolai. I'm still not a huge fan of Mal, but like he's growing on me because of the decisions he's making when it comes to Alina. So we'll see. Siege and Storm gets an A from me, especially the audiobook. I haven't mentioned this yet today. If you're interested, you haven't started audiobooking yet, I am an Audible affiliate. If you use my link that's in the description, you get your first audiobook for free. I love audiobooks. Another movie I watched this month was Okja, a Netflix original film. I had some people telling me last month that I should watch it. I did. I had no idea what this movie was gonna be about. And like within the first 10 minutes, I was like, oh no, I know where this is going. It takes place like sometime in the future, and this company has, you know, used genetics to create this super pig to raise and then eat. They have these 10 prototype super pigs. They give them to farmers all over the world. It takes 10 years for them to reach full maturity, and then they'll be taken, you know, to be slaughtered and used for food. At the end of the 10 years, this company's gonna come to all the farms and judge the best pig, and the farmer with the best pig gets like a cash prize or something. Anyway, so then we go 10 years ahead, and this farmer in South Korea has a little girl, and this little girl grew up with this pig, and the pig is so smart, and her name is Okja, and I love her, and it's just, they come for this pig, and it's the story of this girl who's now like 14, stopping at nothing to save her best friend, Okja. I cried watching this movie. It's definitely a film that like could make you go vegan. It hit me in the heartstrings. I give the movie an A. Lily Collins is in it. She has a smaller role. There's a lot of people I recognize in it. Glenn from The Walking Dead is in it. The nerdy guy from Before I Fall is in Okja too. And the guy from The 100 who wears the goggles, Jordan or something, he's also in it. There's a lot of people in it. They have a smaller role, but like, they're in it. The next TV show I watched this month was a rewatch of Westworld. I had been rewatching Westworld for the past like couple months, but I finished it this month, so I'm gonna include it here. I love Westworld. It was fantastic the second time around. I saw so many new things. Like, I wrote down all these new theories. And I don't know if I'm gonna do a theory video because not enough people are watching Westworld yet. This is my PSA. Please watch Westworld. It's on HBO and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited for season 2. Like, after watching this and like writing down all these new theories and catching all these new things, even more excited than I was before, and before I was so excited. Westworld gets an A+. I've already given it an A+, but like rewatch A+ again. The next book that I read this month, this is actually the first book I read this month. I finished it right like in the beginning of the month, and that is Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. This is an arc. The book itself comes out, I believe, October 5th. It was so good. This is another book I haven't done a book talk for, and I'm very, very upset. I finished it when my family was here, and I couldn't do a book talk. And I've done a book talk for every single Colleen Hoover book. I don't know, maybe I'll try to book talk it even though I read it now an entire month ago. All the details are gone. Like, am I gonna read it again? Maybe I could like skim through it and take some notes, but it was so good. It does have a different tone than a lot of Colleen's other books, and I loved it. Family is a huge part of this one. We see through the eyes of a girl in her senior year of high school. And when I first started reading it, like I read the first page and I found out that she was still in high school, this little part of me was like, oh, because I was just in the mood to read something with someone in their 20s who's a little closer to my age, but it didn't matter. Like, after that first chapter, I was totally into it, and I just loved everything. Hopefully, book talks to come. A+ to Without Merit from me. The next movie I watched was a rewatch. That was Iron Man. Natasha was rewatching all the Marvel movies, and she kept, like, talking about it, and then I had a craving to watch my favorite Marvel movies, the Iron Man films, and it's been a while since I saw Iron Man. It holds up, obviously. It's fantastic. I love it. But I saw Robert Downey Jr., like, you know, immediately, because he's the star of the film, and I'm just like, what? What's going on with Robert Downey Jr.? Like, why is Robert Downey Jr. more attractive now than he was 9 years ago? Why? 10 years ago. What? That is, like, my mind couldn't compute. And then I googled him, and like, he's getting more attractive as he ages. Like, he didn't peak at like 20-something or 30-something. He's peaking now. What's happening? It was confusing me and making me mad. Again, Iron Man's fantastic. If you haven't watched it yet, if you were like too young back when Iron Man came out in 2008, it was great. Great soundtrack, great script, great everything. Then of course, I had to watch Iron Man 2. I was doing this while I was doing shirts. I don't know if you know, I have a bookish merch shop, and every month, once a month, I do all the orders and send them all out. So there's a whole day where I'm like making shipping labels, and then like organizing shipping labels, and then organizing merch, and then packing that merch into the correct shipping label. you know, it tends to get really boring. So I've got my computer on playing something the whole time. And this time was Marvel movies. So I watched Iron Man 1, I watched Iron Man 2, which like, I rewatched it, obviously. I really was disappointed in Iron Man 2. And I think I liked it a little more than I liked it the first time I watched it. I think I've seen it maybe twice, so a little more than the first 2 times I watched it. I still wasn't a big fan. I didn't like the script as much. Everything was just subpar for me. Iron Man 2 gets a B-. Then I rewatched The Avengers, which is my favorite. Of course, I loved it again. Avengers gets an A+ from me. And then I rewatched Doctor Strange. I really enjoyed Doctor Strange the first time, and I really enjoyed it again. I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I think he's fantastic. I think all of a sudden he's attractive to me. I've never been attracted to like Sherlock, Benedict Cumberbatch. Also, I was like, damn, I don't know if it's that Iron Man RDJ as beard you rock him, but you look good like this. I'm really excited to see Doctor Strange interact with more of the Avengers. Like, I know he's gonna be in Thor 3, and I am pumped. I am pumped! I give Doctor Strange an A. The only thing that bothers me about Doctor Strange is I'm never straight on really the rules of that spirit world. I feel like there are no rules, and I really like rules because it grounds you and makes things feel more real. It's just so out there and unreal that like it's hard for you to really conceptualize and completely understand what's going on. I mean, like, I understand it basically, but you know, I don't feel like I completely comprehend the spirit world. It's such a mystery. But the film itself, highly entertaining, great script, great characters. Oh, a new comedy I watched this month. It's called You're the Worst. It just showed up on my Hulu. It was just like there. I was waiting for the new Bachelor in Paradise to come on Hulu. It was like 12 o'clock at night and it wasn't there, and all I wanted was to numb my brain with Bachelor in Paradise because I was really stressed out. It wasn't there. But You're the Worst was there, and I clicked on it, really not expecting to like it, and it was so interesting to me. The show is done really well. I find that it really inspires me creatively, which was not what I was expecting, and is what I love to find in any sort of media, just because it's so different from anything that I ever write. You know, the characters are so out there for me. They're so different from me, and seeing how they react to things and interact with each other was really fun for me. It's basically like a reluctant rom-com sort of situation because like the two leads are these two people that are the worst. They don't do relationships and they like find themselves in one, and I'm so excited for it to come back. Like, I miss it. When I started, I had like 30 episodes. I was like, wow, 30 episodes, this is gonna last me a while. It didn't, because I liked it so much, and now I miss it, and it comes back I think tonight actually, so I'm excited to have a new episode. It does go to some dark places, and it has some really interesting episodes, and they're not afraid to take risks when it comes to storytelling or cinematography, and I love that. I'm excited to have this show in my life. Another movie I watched on the plane on August 31st, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which is an HBO film. It stars Oprah Winfrey and Rose Byrne. They're both absolutely fantastic. Maybe you've seen commercials for this, because I had, and I found them really interesting, and the film was fascinating because I had no idea. I'm not in that medical scientific world. I had no idea about Gila. This woman, Henrietta Lacks, they took a sample of her cells without permission in the 50s. It was the first sample of cells that kept reproducing and growing outside of her body, and these cells led to almost every significant medical discovery from that point on. Those cells were sold to research companies all over the place, and that family never received any compensation for it. It was never explained to them how the cells were being used at the time. Like, it was very confusing, and their mom died. It's just really fascinating. Watch the film if that sounds at all interesting to you. I definitely give it an A. Oh, I saw Baby Driver this month on my birthday. I was so excited to see Baby Driver because it was getting fantastic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Stars Augustus Waters, not Augustus Waters, what is his name? You know, the actor who plays Augustus Waters, and Caleb. He was great. I love the way it was directed. It's an Edgar Wright film, and it's so stylistic, and I love it. I love the music. I love the car stuff. Oh, it was so cool. Ansel Elgort. Definitely give an A to Baby Driver. Really enjoyed it. Oh, Spider-Man Homecoming. I saw it for a second time with my fam. It was fantastic. Again, A+ again to Spider-Man. Oh, I saw Girls Trip. You've probably seen the trailers for Girls Trip with Queen Latifah and Jada Pinkett Smith. This movie was so funny. I wasn't expecting to laugh this much, and I was in hysterics a lot. Oh god, I don't know the actress's name. I feel like I've seen her in other things. The comedian who plays the wackier friend You know if you saw it. She's fantastic. It's definitely rated R. Like, this is a rated R film. Gets an A from me. I also saw Rough Night on one of my plane trips, which had like a similar premise. When you watch the trailers, they kind of felt similar, but it was way not as good at all. I would give it like a C. Rough Night was just, it felt like kind of a mess. It felt disjointed. I didn't laugh at all out loud. That's not a good sign when you're watching a comedy. The last book I read this month was a reread. This was like a month of rereads and rewatches. And I let myself reread Fangirl because I really, really, really wanted to. And I really, I loved it just as much. I knew I loved Fangirl, but it had been so long since I read it and I only read it once. Like, I forgot all the little reasons why I loved it so much. It just really hits me here. And this time reading it, like, I'd already read Carry On. I don't know if you've read Fangirl, but Kath writes fan fiction, and what she's working on in this book is Carry On. It's a fan fiction version of the final book in the Simon Snow series. The final book hasn't come out yet. She's trying to get her version of the story out before the actual end comes out. I remember reading all the excerpts from Carry On here and just kind of comparing them like to parallels in Harry Potter, you know, like, oh, this would be this and this would be this. But now I skipped over most of them, but the ones I did read, I kept having flashes to actual Carry On and being like, oh, did I see this? I kept feeling like, wait, I've seen this. Wait, this actually happened. And then I realized, like, it dawned on me. I mean, when I was reading this the first time, I was like, I wish we got to read how Kath ended her fan fiction, Carry On. And I realized that, like, I did read it. I know what happened, okay? I don't know what Rainbow Rowell told us Carry On was, like her take on Kath's Carry On, but like, Carry On is Kath's fanfic. Like, we got the entire book. That's why it's the 8th book we got, because that's what she was writing. The 8th book, her version of the last book. I couldn't, I'm just like, they're talking about how she's gonna end it. I'm like, oh my god, I know, I read it. I read that whole book. I wanted to read it and Rainbow gave us the entire thing. Whoa. Anyway, A+ to Fangirl. Absolutely love it. Definitely one of my favorite books of all time. And lastly, I finished Jessica Jones this month, just in time for the Defenders. I only had one episode left, so I mostly watched it another time. But I really like Jessica Jones, not as much as I like Daredevil. I'd give Jessica Jones an A-, and Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 both an A+. They're so well done. And then I watched the Defenders this month. I was unfortunately like super underwhelmed by it. I myself have not watched the Iron Fist. I could not stand the Iron Fist. Like, I don't think his acting is very strong. It just, every line he says, he sounds like a moron. Why do you sound so stupid? I just like, I can't take you seriously at all. He like is always telling people that he's the immortal Iron Fist. Just like, tell him your name. Stop. Iron Fist is not a cool name. Like, the show had good moments. Like, I loved seeing Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke interact, but like, the Iron Fist really like dragging it down. Like, the pilot, especially in a Netflix show, really sets the tone for the rest of the series, because you film all those at once. It's not like you film the pilot and then months later, like, you know, the show gets picked up and you get more money to do the rest of it. And that pilot, in my opinion, was not very strong. It really depended heavily on you having seen the Iron Fist before. It didn't really draw you in. The directing was all over the place. They kept doing these like circling shots. They eventually found their groove as far as like camera work and editing. It wasn't as good as Daredevil at all. It had some little aspects of Jessica Jones. I think what they were trying to do was like put a little bit of the style from every show into that pilot. Oh, it wasn't working. I hate it. There were so many circling shots. I hate shots like where they're continuously circling a character. Unless it's like there for like emotional impact, it's not doing anything for me. I can't see anything. Stop moving. I love it in the Avengers, like when they're just like, ooh, but then we stop circling after that one shot. This was just like every second we're circling. Just stop it! Like, we're not clear on the villains and like what their exact mythology is and what exactly they're after. It's just, it's muddy and it makes everything feel less important. Like, I love the actual Defenders minus Iron Fist. I wish Colleen was like the superhero there and Iron Fist was like the side character that we don't really see as much. I don't know, like, he feels like he's miscasted. When he does his stupid Iron Fist thing, it looks stupid. Not a fan. I love anything from Jessica and Daredevil. I like Luke. I just feel like as a lead, he's not as exciting to follow. He's like super immoral and that's great, but he's just not as fun to follow him. I love the cop that's friends with Luke. She's super interesting, and I love Elektra. I give the show, I think, a B. I want to say B-, but like it deserves a B. Like there were some good episodes in there. And those are all the stories I ate this month. There were so many. I had to fly through some of those movies. There was like a million. My favorite story I ate this month was... Dang, I want to give it to You're the Worst. I really am happy with that. If you read or watched any of the things that I did this month, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, what your favorite story you ate this month was. I'm Christine. I make videos every Tuesday. I'm at XTeenMay on Twitter and Instagram. All my links are in the description below. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye!